So this isn't quite a Q&A, but it was just a topic that we were discussing, and we just, you know, we were on a roll, and we're like, maybe we should film this.
Yeah, we're sitting in bed and we were getting really deep into it, and we're like, this is something that people need to like hear about and understand. And we think that a lot of athletes can probably relate. So
yeah, so what we were talking about, I was just reading this article about depression in athletes, and they talked about 3 key factors as to what attributes to athletes experiencing depression after retirement. And it pretty much said and came down to 3 factors, which were loss of identity, tunnel vision syndrome, and biological factors. So loss of identity, which
is huge. I think that that's something, like, we have conversations at the moment every day with athletes, and it's something that comes up for everyone. It's like, who am I outside of sport? You start playing sport when you're very young, and you go through all of your formative years being an athlete and associating with that, and you don't actually, especially when you're trying to become a pro athlete, you don't actually look at who you are outside of being an athlete. Like, you have very focus on that. That's your identity, and I think that so many people struggle so much with that. It's like, you stop being an athlete, and we had this.
Yeah, like we had this.
People would be like, "What do you do?" And we were like,
"Oh, we play football." Like, you know, this was before. Like, we would always say, "We play football. I'm a quarterback. She's a tight end." It was an easy answer, and then as soon as we're done, it's like, who are we?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like, people ask the questions
all the time, and it's just it's like
I think that's something that athletes really, really struggle with, and I know that some people might think like that's silly, but you are focused on this your entire life. This is everything of who you are, and then
all of a sudden one day it's just gone. You're no longer a part of that world, and it's like, it's normal to feel
very disconnected, to feel very alone, to feel very empty, unsure about like what it is that you want to do with the rest of your life,
and question your now purpose in life, and question like, what am I meant to do now? Like, what is what is my purpose? What is my identity? So that's the first one, is loss of identity, and we know a lot of athletes go through that and experience that. The second one is tunnel vision syndrome. So what it is, you know, during your athletic career, you're so focused on your training, results, competition, that entire time. Like, you have your routine, and that's what you do, and you put all of your focus and your energy into that. So once you retire, you no longer know where to put that focus. You know, like, you have this routine, and you're so used to,
you're always chasing a championship, or you're chasing a gold medal, or you're chasing that platform, that podium, like whatever it is for your sport. You spend your whole life preparing for that moment, and then when you don't have that to prepare for anymore,
you don't have that goal or that mission anymore.
And it's like, it's something, I don't know, it becomes a part of you. Like, you're always striving for this thing, and there's all these little intricate pieces that work towards that, and then you look around and you're like, that lack of motivation, that lack of direction, that lack of like, long-term
exactly
goal.
Because it's pretty much, you have this goal, you have this tunnel vision, you're focused on that, and then once that's taken away, you don't have that goal to look forward to, you don't have something to work to anymore. Like, I don't know, it's just like an uncomfortable kind of feeling when you're out of routine. Like, and that routine gave you comfort.
And and you did it because you were passionate about it, and the thought of creating a new routine and a new goal that doesn't necessarily align with you, or you don't know what your passion is yet, because you've got this lack of identity.
Thought about it. Yeah, exactly.
So then you can't set that new goal because you don't know who you are and what you want. So it's just like those two like snowball into each other.
Exactly. And then which comes to the last factor is biological factors. So a lot of people don't think about this, but athletes train pretty much every single day. They do something active every single day of their lives. I mean, they do have days off every now and then.
Hours and hours, 30, 40 hours of professional
a week, exactly. And they're getting that shot of, or that dose of serotonin, endorphins, every single day.
Like high levels
of it, and then all of a sudden you're no longer working out as much as you used to, you're no longer putting in all those hours, you're no longer getting that dose of serotonin and those endorphins.
And it's really natural to feel depressed and to not want to talk to people or go out, or you lose that motivation to train, and you've got this whole thing going on, and you actually feel really depressed. And a part of that is, you're depressed because you don't know what your next move is, but part of it is an actual biological factor. You're not producing as much of those happy endorphins and things inside your body.
Yeah.
That your body is at a lower level.
Exactly,
so you just don't feel as happy, you don't feel as fulfilled.
Sorry, my dogs are having a little fight in the background.
And something that we were just talking about, which got us like so passionate to just make this video.
Yeah, want to jump on and make this video for you guys.
Is that this common theme that we have with talking to people is this depression, like feeling depressed, like athletes being really depressed, and people think, oh, you know, you're an athlete, you have this great life, like who are you?
Yeah, why are you complaining about the life that you get to live? You know what I mean?
And it's something that, like, we just had a look at it. How did they say it? It was kind of like you're conditioned to be.
Yeah, so athletes are perceived by the public to have, status, well-known. They're very mentally tough, and which all athletes are to some degree. Like, you have to be extremely mentally tough to compete at a high level. But then the public perceives them as being so tough that they can't ask for help.
Yeah, and so a lot of athletes feel like they have to deal with and internalize how they're feeling, you know, when they're feeling really shitty about their new step. They don't want to talk about it. It's like, you know, like kind of a stigma.
It's like taboo. Like, yeah, athletes aren't allowed to complain or be depressed because of this great life that they get to live. But once they're not in that lifestyle anymore, they're not an athlete anymore, they have this loss, just like any other loss, just like how anyone else would have a loss in their life. And yes, they do go through depression and they do need help, and it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And that's why we created Athletes for Athletes.
There's got to be a community or an environment that you can go into after sport where you can still be with like-minded individuals, where, you know, you're dealing with people who are athletes, who have that same drive as you, that have that same mentality as you, that understand your pains, that understand like everything you've been through, all the highs and all the lows, and that you guys can come together. And you know what, it's a different journey, but it still gets to be fun, and your people understand you, and working through that process and like kind of finding your identity and finding what works for you, and I think sometimes just knowing other people feel the same way that you do helps you. Do you know what I mean?
You know, you have people who are like-minded, who are in that same community. We're creating that space, we're creating that team environment where we all went through it, you know, like we even went through that loss. Like last year I was in Bangkok by myself with my family, and I went through that little spout of depression when I was lost. I didn't know who I was, where I was going, what I was doing. And yeah,
I was the same. I was super aimless. Like, my mum was like, Quincy, what are you going to do? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And
constantly,
I was like,
family is always asking, what is your next step?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'd bought into
my back.
Yeah, we'd bought into this business, but we didn't have any direction because we didn't know who we were and we didn't know what we wanted. We knew we wanted freedom and we knew we wanted to travel, but we didn't, outside of that there was nothing, and so we were just kind of kicking it along, and you know, people asking that question, what's the next step, what are you doing, like,
now that you're not playing football, what are you gonna do? And it's like, can I just have a couple months to breathe, like, just let me chill. Because we don't know, like, being an athlete for so long, like, that's just your life for so long, and you're lost without it, and it's okay to grieve it. It's okay to feel that loss,
and it's okay to spend a little bit of time working it out, because the next step is important, and that's where we want to help people just get really clear, one, on what it is that they would like to do every day for the rest of their life, like what makes them happy, like what makes their soul happy outside of sport. What is it that they want to do, and how can we make it possible for them to be able to do that? Because obviously digital marketing is not everyone's passion, it's not our passion, but it is a vehicle for people to be able to live a certain lifestyle, whatever that might be. So finding people's passion, finding people's purpose, it's kind of cool that we found our purpose and our passion is helping and working with athletes in this way, because then we get to help people, but we also get to live out our passion and travel and work with athletes, and we want to do the same for other athletes. So
exactly. So it all just kind of like came together,
and it took us a while, and that's okay. And
it is okay. And now that we have found our purpose and we know the direction of where we're going, we know who we are outside of being an athlete, it feels amazing. So we want to help we want to help other athletes get to that same like happy space, like, oh yes, I know who I am, like. And
it took us ages, and we didn't have anyone to help bridge that gap. You know, we kind of fumbled around and we did it round and round in circles, and it didn't have to take that long, and it didn't have to be painful, and it didn't have to be stressful, and it didn't have to be all the things that it was, because we didn't have the support. So at Athletes for Athletes, we want to create that support right from the get-go, so that you feel like someone's holding your hand and walking you through the process. They've been down your path. They understand all the highs and lows, and just, I don't know, make it fun.
Yeah,
it gets to be fun, and it gets to be,
life is fun. Like, that's how we look at life. Like, life is fun. We create whatever we want. Like, we deserve whatever we want.
Yeah, and it gets to be like, that doesn't have to be the pinnacle of your life. Like, being an athlete and achieving those things, like, you're always going to remember that. But like, I'm early 30s, Jane's at mid 20s, and there's so much life left. Athletes finish at 30s, 20s, early 30s, if you're lucky, mid 30s,
late 30s if you're Tom Brady, still killing it at 40.
But then you got 30 or 40 years of your life where you're going to be earning an income and impacting people, and you have a choice whether it gets to be more fun, or you take a route that's not so fun, and you go back into the workforce, and you're not really clear on who you are and what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want that for you.
No, we don't.
So that was our little...
Yeah, so that's what we wanted to just get on camera and explain to you guys, the conversation that we were having.
These are our Sunday Arvo convos. It's like we live and breathe it. It's so crazy, but it's like we can't ever switch off, because now we just know we're getting so many messages and so many people who feel the same, and it's actually scary.
Like, ever since we've launched Athletes for Athletes, I feel like I've been on a cloud. Like, just cloud nine. It's just like, wow, like, having all these conversations with all these athletes, getting to like show them what we do, getting to like having that vehicle to help them. It's just like, it feels
and just
so
listening
amazing.
to their stories. I think, like, not everyone is going to resonate with us, and not everyone's going to want to do what we do, and not everyone's going to want to be a part of our community, but listening to them and letting them know that they're heard and they're seen and that we understand, and then giving them options outside of what we do, and just encouraging and supporting along the way. I just think it's a cool vibe.
Yeah, I agree. So if you are an athlete watching this video, we would love to have a chat with you. We would love to hear about your story and about your journey, what you've been through, and where you want to go. So yeah, email us.
Email us.